What's up, everybody? YouTube, internet, Twitch. If you're here watching live, how you doing? I know we missed last week. Shit came up. Life goes on. It is me, O'Neal Johnson, aka Dad of War. As always, with me, my co-host, Quiet Boy Girl. How you doing?
Anything to say after that? Just the hello.
There you are. There you are. Back.
Uh,
So, how are you doing this week?
I'm doing really good.
Good.
Just really fun week.
Nice. Always fun. Obviously we are actual friends in real life, so I know you got an Oculus Quest, or Quest 2.
Oculus Quest 2. Yeah,
Oculus Quest 2, nice. So, always fun getting a new toy. So, as I said,
it came with motion sickness.
it came with motion sickness, I remember. Yep. So, as I said, we missed last week. Wasn't really shit going on, and kids, life, getting over sickness, wife still a bit sick, and yada, 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 yada. But we're here. We're back. And we actually have a topic, not just updates and whatnot, and yada, yada. So, we'll get to that in a moment. But as always, we're going to start off with what have we been playing? And quite frankly, there's quite a bit. I mean, not all of it's new on my end, but Kawhi, you got an Oculus Quest, and it came with motion sickness. What gave you that motion sickness?
So it was just surreal. I didn't feel so when when I got home, I set it up. I didn't play anything, but just having the VR headset on, seeing the virtual hub thing, the virtual room it put you in, and just looking around and seeing all that felt really fucking surreal. But then yesterday I decided to buy a game for it. Um, then the game I bought was Warhammer 40k Battle Sisters, which I'm a huge Warhammer fan, and by huge I mean I like certain parts of it, and then there's so much fucking lore that like I'd take years to read through it all, so I just pick and choose the parts I like. But the game's really fun so far. I've played like the first two chapters,
Nice.
and it's just like the movement in that. So like I'm moving through like the joystick part, so like I'll be standing still and moving, and my body is like, whoa there. But there's an often option where you can like teleport instead of just moving, and I'm assuming if I did teleport, it'd take off like the motion sickness part of it.
Okay, I get it.
But
That's where
really
I hear
fun
a lot of
game.
it is.
Shoot fucking space marines and fucking weird cultists. Reload by putting my gun to my fucking hip, pick up items, throw them around. I threw my fucking sword at someone.
Yeah, man, VR always sounds interesting to me. I'm afraid, just like you said, that the whole movement thing is gonna make me motion sick. I just like you, I've never been motion sick,
I
but
know
I've
after
also
time
never
I'll
put
get
it
like
on.
after it. I know like I'll get like used to it. I felt more motion sick. I was starting to feel a little bit motion sick, so I stopped. But as soon as I stopped and started moving around normally, that's when I really felt it.
Hmm, that's weird. Yeah, all right. Well, I won't be in Oculus or any of that. We'll see what PlayStation's next one is.
I haven't
If it's
really played
wireless and
any
whatnot.
other games that are that.
Oh, hold on. You're breaking up real bad. You haven't played
Uh,
anything else besides
I haven't played anything new
new.
besides that really. Like I started playing Cold War. I played this cute puzzle game called The One That Passes Around, this cute visual novel called Coffee Talk, and I also bought Disco Elysium the final cut, but I haven't played it yet.
Okay, nice. I keep hearing good things about that, but I'm not a point and click guy, so I'm not sure if I really vibe with it. So, what about Monster Hunter? You been get to play
Yeah,
any more of that?
no, we still haven't gotten together as a group to play it. We're still just at the high rank quest. We haven't done anything past that.
Very well. All right, oh, very well. Very well. Very well. Very well.
Oh yeah, and I also played some Smite because there's the new Smite update this morning, and Gilgamesh is a bitch, and that's all I have to say.
Very well. Very well. Well, I'll start off with Smite. I always play a bit of Smite, but I literally only got to play two games today, both of which were Joust, and both of which I did get to play Gilgamesh. First game I went 9-2, and the second game I went 4-2. Uh,
And PS5 Instalocker.
basically, I'm actually very much surprised and happy about how much I like him. He's not my favorite god by any means, but He's a lot more enjoyable than I thought he was. I thought his kit was going to be basic and just alright, but his combos are a lot easier to pull off and a lot more satisfying to hit than I like watching someone play him is. Like, you throw up that sand wall and you drop kick a motherfucker into that shit, and he bounces off into the middle. And I had, oh, who was it? I had a guardian with me. I think, was it a Ymir? I don't know. It's someone with a stun. So I drop kicked them. They got stunned off my wall into the middle, and then they stunned them in the middle. I beat them down a bit, and then my ult like blew up. And apparently, I have to fully read it, but I'm pretty sure if you're still in it when it goes off, it stuns you again. It's just it was nasty. Like, it was the other Gilgamesh, and he just got fucking bopped real bad.
So when I was
There's an
playing against
Ares.
Gilgamesh, I was a Horus, so like I could get out of his ult easily because like I have the teleport thing that sort of flies me over and the dash.
Yeah, yeah.
So that wasn't a problem, but like just he's just beating me up anyway. He didn't need the ult.
Yeah, his kit's a lot more versatile than I thought it was going to be. The slow on the his one activation, which makes his basics hit like a fucking truck. His drop kicks legitimately sends you flying. Like, if you're on one side of the lane and he aims you at the other, you're going to hit a wall. Like, if he's
I will
jungle
say,
side over there, you're going into the wall.
when I was playing Conquest as Ganesha, I can just run through those vine walls and they stay up, so they're really good from getting away from people. So I just
Nice.
fucking run through those because Ganesh would be like, I don't fear walls. And
Yeah.
that because I was about to die from fucking blown a jungle, I run through the wall. She has to take the time to hit it twice. So I'm fucking gone.
Yeah, you're out of there for sure, for sure. That's awesome. I didn't even think of that. That's a cool implication, especially for Ganesh. I actually watched Duke Sloth's, quick recap vid. And I totally forgot about the vines, and I just watched that this morning. That's how I realized Gilgamesh came out today or was coming out today. And I haven't played Conquest. As I said, I only played the two games that were both jousts, so I totally forgot about the vines. A lot of the new skins look really nice. The Medusa one's really cool. The Chiron one is really fucking dope. I really like them. So it's all good in Smite right now. I was having a bit of server issues. It's patch day, but not as bad as when Tiamat came out. And also, I can also blame a bit of my missing abilities / other bullshit because it finally hit me, guys. Every one of you out there who also has a PS5 has been complaining about stick drift. I'm like, oh, knock on wood, thank God it isn't me. It finally hit, and I'm pretty sure it's the patch. Like, my controller's completely fine. The newest big patch for PlayStation came out. It also updated the controller. Ever since then, on any game that I can aim all around, so a whole scope, not just 360 in a circle, but up down, like, so say Call of Duty, it and even in Smite where I can only look in a 360 degree, it'll pull to the left in Smite. It'll just slightly, just a quick turn. So if I'm on a precision character like a Musin Cab's ult, I missed it twice yesterday because I went to hit it and just pulled that way and shot. And then for Call of Duty, where you can look up also, it pulls up and to the left very slightly. So if I'm aimed in perfectly and I go to pull the trigger, sometimes it just goes. But I have a new controller coming in the mail. It can be it. They say give them 10 to 12, 2 to 10 days for to get it together and make sure it's good and test it and whatnot, and then another 2 to 3 days of shipping. I did get a custom controller, custom colors, because the controller itself is already $80. I might as well spend another 40. I think it was $40, 40, $50. No, it was 40. It was 120 to get colors I want. Fuck it. Sony's not. You can't even get a fucking PS5 right now. We're talking about at least another 6 to 8 months before they have instead of this being white with black, all black. So fuck it. I'm gonna spend a bit of money. I'm gonna make it nice. So this is literally all black. These stay white. The buttons. My sticks are white. This will be red. Like, where it's black will be red, and the touchpad will be black on. So it'll be all black with a bit of red, and then the white outlays with the buttons and the sticks. So I'll hopefully be able to show it to you next week because they said 2 to 10 with 3 day shipping. So I'm hoping it's 3-4 days of piecing it together and testing it, and then shipping it 2 to 3 days later. So that sucks. Speaking of games that aim up and down, also like you, I played a little bit more Call of Duty. My wife is finally feeling better. Few new map. There's one new map that we missed because we didn't play for two solid straight weeks. Like we didn't even get on. It was just making us sick to look at it, or making my wife sick and me a little bit sick. There's a new version of Miami. It's terrible. I hate it. It's too small. I actually hated the original Miami, but I absolutely love the original Miami compared to the new Miami. So, whatever. Apparently, Jim's saying today or Friday they were getting like another 3 maps and like 4 different guns and a few melee weapons. So, lots of stuff lots of stuff coming to Cold War, and then
So
Outriders.
if they could just like add every BO2 map and then set a playlist so I don't have to play the new maps, that'd be great.
Yeah,
Just
I
like
don't
just
even need them.
BO2 maps only.
Yeah, I would definitely straight up go for that, but at the bare minimum, I need Hijacked back. I really want to play Hijacked.
I just want the one with the fucking. I want Yemen. I want the one with the tank. I want every like fucking.
Yemen
I
was
want
good.
every like variant map back. The one with the tanks. I want Yemen.
Yemen was good,
Fucking.
but
I want. I want fucking Yemen hardpoint. I want fucking
I just want Hijacked.
capture the flag on the fucking tank thing. I want every variant thing. I want to feel. I want to feel like I did when I was playing semi-professional COD when I was actually good at the game.
I just want
So like,
Hijacked, man.
it was funny. I was just saying I was still like really bad, and then Moogle watched me drop 20 kills on a fucking search and destroy.
Nice. Yeah.
And one guy thought I was fucking cheating because I shot him through a wall, but I saw he was. It was on a raid, and he was in that one fucking building by the van, and I saw him like
Oh
he
yeah.
was in the
You can see.
window.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he walked back, and I just shot him through the fucking wall, and the kill cam showed him speaking out, but maybe he thought I was cheating because I just knew where he'd be, like when he was in the wall. But like,
Wah. Well, people always whine when they get fucked. It's true. Call of Duty people whine all the time about everything. I don't hear it anymore because I'm always in a party. So you just always see that little red mic. You shoot someone, you hear.
no, I like being in game chat when I'm playing S&D because I just like hearing people talk, even if I don't talk. It just feels nostalgic.
Oh yeah, if I was ever going to play by myself, I'd be in game chat. But I only ever play Call of Duty when Rachel wants to play it. So, but yeah, the biggest thing that has taken up my time, I can't actually turn my PS5 on right now just because how the setup is. I can't give you, but I've played a fuck ton of Outriders. A fuck ton of Outriders. It's easily my most played game right now. I'm so very much enjoying it, and it's crazy to me how much I am playing it because it is such a fucking hassle to play more often than not. It really, really is. Because just for some reason, just like every other, well, they're not a big developer, but just like every other developer, there's no more dedicated servers, and I don't understand how or why. These host connections are terrible. Like, there has literally been 4 separate occasions where I was on a tier 15. I joined in a group who's at the same level as me, and we're running through a tier 15, the highest thing you can do in the game, and get the best loot. So basically, I'm guaranteed to get at least 1 legendary by doing this, and everything else that drops is still going to be on par. It'll still be level 50, the highest level, right? We get to the final part of that mission, and I'm literally shooting the boss, and it DCs me. Not I've been kicked out by the party leader, just cannot connect to host. Kicks me
Seeing
back
you
to the main
join
screen.
stuff and then get kicked out too. That has to be the most annoying.
When it happens in the beginning, yeah, it's fine. But those 4 specific instances where they literally fucked me out of legendary gear and really good loot, because more often than not, when I get into a group, they're doing 13s and 14s, which isn't bad, but then you have to spend a fuck ton of points to upgrade them to level 50. Whereas I already have level 50 gear, I need more and different level 50 gear instead of going down to 13, getting a legendary that, like, the discrepancy is like insane. I did a few 14s with a guy. I'm sorry, 13s with a guy that I joined in randomly just because it was a decent connection. I just wanted to fucking play, and that gives me level 48 loot, right? And my highest gun right now is a level 50, and just base stats is 93k damage. If I get a level 48 gun, it's at like 48k. And if I upgrade it to be 50, it is so much weaker than just getting a level 50. Like upgrading it twice, I've literally done this. I got a level 48 LMG. It started out at 48k damage. It's now at 50, but it's only at like 67k damage. Whereas in the level 50 gun I got is at 93. Nothing else is coming close for upgrading. So it also just might be a number thing. It's weird.
I wish it was like another thing like Anthem where you could use level 1 weapons and do more damage than the end game.
That'd be disgusting. But either way, there's a lot of problems. I'm not going to sit here and praise it for being the best game in the world, because it's not. The servers are abysmal. There's
if a looter shooter ever becomes the best game in the world, I think that's a failing of other games and not the fact that the looter shooter is good.
True, but I don't know. Destiny 3 might come out and be the best game ever.
I fucking doubt it.
You never know. But
anyway, I do know.
You do know? But yeah, I've been playing a lot of it. There's service issues, the login issues. There was literally a point 2 days ago where I had to close application and go back in to try to log in 8 separate times, which on a PS5 isn't like super bad, except that it actually really is, because no matter what, there's a beginning cutscene that you have to watch of a bird grabbing a dude, flying over a little mountain. Square Enix pops up, he flies, and you see those big walkers.
Unskippable cutscenes is like a fucking 0 out of 10 game right there. The only fucking... It really is. That's the one reason I'd never rate fucking Monster Hunter World or Iceborne like in the fucking top. Is the unskippable cutscenes at first, but it's great once you're through the story and just can do whatever the fuck you want. But
that's the worst part. Every time if I play a different game and log back in Outriders, I have to watch this beginning cutscene of the stupid bird. People can fly. That goes away. He flies a little further. There's weird giant lava elephant things. Square Enix pops up, and then he caws and flies down, and the screen goes black. And then I can attempt to log in. So we're talking about, I mean, literally, it's probably only like 8 to 10 seconds. But now we're talking 80 seconds, a whole minute every time, because of how many times I have to attempt to log in. And that's only if I fucking instantly go out. There's quite a few times they say the bug is if you can hear the music while you're trying to log in, as long as you can hear the music, it's trying to sign you in. I don't believe it, because I literally sat on the screen for 3 minutes with it saying I'm signed in and just spinning. And then I still had to log in back out, log in 2 more times before I could get in the game. It has a lot of issues. It really, really does, and it's very tedious and annoying. But I will be damned if it isn't some of the most fun I've had in a long time. When you get into those games, even with randoms, and it's smooth, it's fun. Playing with Jim, it's a lot of fun. He's not at my level, because I played with randoms while he was, working and whatnot. But even lowering it for him and just playing through those same missions and getting a decent amount of loot is still nice, because as I said, it might not get me to the big numbers, but if I get a legendary with him, I can still level it up to 50. So, I mean, I also complain about the overall damage numbers. It's super weird. I don't know why they do it. As I said, I got a level 50, it's 93k. I got a level 48 or 49 by playing a tier 14, leveled it up to 50, and it is only, quote unquote, its max thing is 88.67k damage. But every time I headshot someone with that gun, it's doing it's a 3-round burst assault rifle. If all 3-round bursts hit them, it does 13k a shot, so a bullet times 3. Whereas in the automatic version I have, that is the 93k damage, only does 6,000 damage a shot, but it has 12,000 more overall damage, and that's not counting mods or anything. That's just if my bullets hit by themselves.
Is it actual damage, or is it damage per second? Because it could still do more damage per second, but do a little bit less damage per shot.
Overall, I feel I hit harder with the weaker gun. It's super weird. I just actually watched a thing that pointed me to an article that they said they want people to use whatever gun they want and not to focus on the numbers. So that changed my perspective a bit. They said even if the gun does have a bigger number, doesn't always necessarily mean that it's a better gun because of mods and how it is. Because yes, the automatic does have a little more DPS, but
I think about it like the DPS, because I've been playing more Dead Cells and I'll get a weapon that does a shit ton of damage, but it's slow, so I can use something weaker and fast for more DPS.
Yes. Whereas in
Speaking
this
of
is the
which,
reverse.
Speaking of which, I've also been playing Dead Cells and more Binding of Isaac.
Nice.
Speaking of which, the daily run for today on Binding of Isaac, I last I checked, I was in second place in the world,
Nice.
so that was fun because the past 2 days I think it's like 16th and 10th.
Oh no,
And
only the top 25 in the world.
yeah, but I like being top 10.
Hell yeah. And look, you're on it. So, but yeah, that's really about it for me. As I said, my controller got fucked, so I really haven't been playing Apex or. It's marginal in Smite. In any like actual shooter, and then in fucking Outriders, it doesn't matter. I'm throwing firewalls and blazing people on fire. The gun's just a part of it, but I haven't been playing like any Apex or anything that takes real precision, because
Which was that one really controversial game from
I'm
like
sorry,
forever ago.
you broke up a little bit. You played what
I
game?
said I've also been playing Hatred, which is
Hatred.
that really controversial game from like 2015,
Oh,
where like you play as a guy and you just go the really edgy guy.
yeah, I remember. Yeah, it was like one of the first games. Not for. It's one of the only games to be like straight up banned, right? Like after a
Yeah,
while,
you
didn't it
can't.
get banned?
Yeah.
You can't buy it anymore.
No, you can buy it. It's one of the few games that's not a porn game that's banned on fucking Twitch. You can't stream it, and
Okay.
it feels even weirder playing it nowadays than it probably did back then.
That's terrible.
But I will say it was dumb, mindless fun. It's basically like it's just bad Postal, and Postal is already bad Postal. So don't buy Hatred, just buy Postal. Support Postal 4. That's a good stupid fun game.
Oh God, no, let's not. But you know what we should do? Move on to our topic of the show, which is a kawaii joint that I very much enjoy, because it's a nice little article. It might get a little heated here shortly. I will have to keep my ears out on the ether to see how the fan base reacts to this. But there was an article put up on Games Radar by the game director of Days Gone. What is this gentleman's name? Creative director John Garvin says players shouldn't complain if a game doesn't get a sequel if it wasn't supported at launch. And I'll read into the rest of the interview slash review interview real quick right now. In a frank discussion, Garvin admitted that while his views might piss some people off, if players love a game, we should buy it at fucking full price instead of sale or via subscription services like PlayStation Plus. Quote, I do have an opinion on something that your audience may find interesting and that might piss some people off, end quote. Garvin said that in an interview on David Jaffe's YouTube channel, thanks VGC, quote, if you love a game, buy it at full fucking price. I can't tell you how many times I've seen gamers say, yeah, I got that on sale, I got it through PS Plus, whatever. Don't complain if a game doesn't get a sequel if it wasn't supported at launch, end quote, Garvin added, quote, it's like God of War got whatever number of million sales at launch, and you know what? Days Gone didn't. Just speaking for me personally as a developer, I don't work for Sony. I don't know what the numbers are. So I think the uptick of engagement with the game is not as important as in buy the game at full price. End quote, he concluded. Quote, because if you did, then they're supporting the developers directly. End quote. So the article continues a bit on. I'll put a link in the description if you want to read into it and more. But yeah, that is pretty fun controversial. Like, especially for in this specific case for sure, because the big tick of this week is people are mad at Sony because they're not greenlighting Days Gone, and everyone wants Days Gone. But people tend to forget that, just like Microsoft and everything else, they are a business. Yes, they are a video game business, and they do care about their fans to a certain extent. But at the end of the day, you roll it back. It's Sony Japan. It's not just Sony PlayStation. It's Sony Movie Studio, Columbia, televisions, whatever. Like, it's a company that wants to make money. Their whole point in existing is to make money. So you didn't buy a game, they're not going to give you another one.
When I read this article, I didn't know people actually wanted another Days Gone. I was just reading the article and I was like, when he brought up God of War, it just made him seem like kind of mad to me. Like he was mad that this game did better than his game.
I would say
And
there's a bit of little envy in there. I can
because
see
like
it too, but
and like I don't know, maybe make a I was thinking like I don't know, maybe make a better game.
and
But
that's the
there's
sad
really a
part.
lot more going on there.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's what we're about to get into a little bit, especially for this case of Days Gone. Is that game came out at launch and was just okay. It wasn't a bad game. It wasn't the best. The story was all right. It was enjoyable. A little long in the tooth, even for me. Like, I even got to the point where like, fuck, this game kind of needs to end. It was definitely interesting, especially the end half of the game was very interesting.
Saying fuck this game just needs to end is never a good sign.
No, it isn't. Like it was a little long in the tooth, so I won't lie about that. And the story was just all right. As I said, getting to say the end half of the game was a lot more interesting than the beginning, and the beginning was just all right. But anyway, and it's fun. It had good game mechanics. But the big thing is, and what he is saying is, at the beginning they said, "Hey, I know." Once the reviews rolled out, they said we're going to work on it a bunch. You should play it now, and later in time it will be even better than what it already is. And no one took them at the word. They're like, yeah, well, I guess we'll see. Well, we'll see. We did. Apparently, I haven't done it yet, and I very much, once I get through a little bit of backlog and run out of things, I want to go back because there's a 60 frames per second patch, yada yada yada, all the bells and whistles for next gen. But besides that, even back on PS4, they patched the fuck out of that game. A lot of the bug issues they had are gone. It runs a lot smoother, even if you're on a PS4. A lot more extra free content. Like the people who played it, like I'd say probably like a year, like 6 months to a year after the game dropped, got a completely better experience than me buying it day one. So the turn on that is like I agree. You guys really like the game. You should have bought it at the beginning. You can't whine now. But on the flip side of that, yes, we can. Because if you put out the game that everyone loves right now on day one, everyone would have bought it, wouldn't they? So it's hard to sit here and say, yeah, you're right. We should have bought it to support you so Sony would greenlight it. But on the flip side, it's like you can feel him like, no. Or you're on the other side like, well, you should have gave us a better game in the beginning and we would have bought it then, right?
Yeah, like if there's never another Cyberpunk game, it's not. It's just because like the game was shit on arrival, not because people didn't buy it. Like
Yeah.
so many people would have bought it full price, and they still probably wouldn't be a Cyberpunk too.
Yeah, no, no, no. Yeah, Cyberpunk's shit in the water still, but the bad
I
part
know that's
is,
not even like a good example, but
yeah, it's comparable because it's
just like
another hype
if you
game.
look at like a series of stuff like the Tony Hawk games, like those are usually like bought. Well, it's old now, but those got bought a lot, and
Hmm.
people like loved those. And you
Hmm.
got like sure Pro Skater 5, which people didn't like, but like people when they said they're remastering the other ones, people that shit sold.
Like
So like,
crazy, like hotcakes.
and then with Red Dead 2, like that sold very well because like people wanted another Red Dead Forever, and it gave it time. So
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully, all this backlash on the back turn is because I said I did enjoy it, and if they tweaked a few things, and if the original now plays as well as everyone says it does, and they tone down the length and whatnot, fix the minor things like you're supposed to do with a sequel, I would definitely be excited for it. And hopefully, with all this quote unquote outrage and backlash at Sony for not giving Ben the opportunity to do Days Gone, maybe it clicks in Sony's head
it
that
should be
it will.
noted that the person who said all this isn't with the studio anymore.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. When he was the creative director, so maybe that's why they didn't greenlit. Maybe he left. Well, no, I'm sorry, I forgot that's the controversy. Is he left because Sony wouldn't let him do what he wanted.
Yeah.
They're forcing them to go do something else. But in the same token, last week or the week before, Sony also announced that they're shutting down the PS3 and PS Vita stores online, so you can't do it
They
anymore.
did change their mind about that.
Exactly. So there was enough fandom to get them to waste money on servers to stay open for people to possibly buy PS3 and PS Vita games. So maybe if there's a long enough yell. As a matter of fact, I was scrolling through Facebook literally today, and a digital petition popped up saying, "Help us get Sony to approve Days Gone 2." Legitimately, it was Deacon sitting there against the tree, and it was Days Gone with 2 on, and I was like, I didn't do anything with it. I didn't even click on it because I was
Everyone
doing
wants
really
their game
quick.
to be the next fucking Skyrim where they can release it 100 times on every fucking console.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, but there's lots of games like that. I see both sides of it, but I mean, then everyone's scared that they'll get a Cyberpunk again, and like you said, we Cyberpunk
I think
is not
I
getting a
don't know the
sequel.
way he words it. Like I'd be on his side if he wasn't so fucking bitter about it.
Yeah, I definitely see that. I definitely like. I tried to even read it like that. I not even tried to. I did. I just tried to read it like an article. But when I got to what he was saying, like I sounded spiteful and mean about it.
Yeah.
Like God of War fucking sold millions. We didn't, so don't fucking whine about it. Like, I'm sorry. God of War is one of the best pieces of media ever made. You made a mediocre Walking Dead meets Sons of Anarchy game. That is arguably good, but it's not a fucking 10 out of 10. And even if you know one, there's no such thing as a 10 out of 10 game, it's a 9.9 game then, okay? God of War is good.
This is gonna sound extremely pretentious of me, maybe, but I didn't even buy Days Gone or play it at all because it just seemed too AAA for me.
Terrible. Terrible. Well, isn't it free this month? I
It was free. I think it was free. Like it might have been free this month. I know it's free at some point. I'm still not gonna
Dude,
play it.
this month or next month. I would recommend. That's the bad part. I'd recommend it. It's a fun game, especially doing the horror shit. Like if you're over zombies, yeah, put it to the side. I get it. I know they're not zombies, they're freakers. Whatever. If you're over the undead version of games, don't play it. But if you care about it all, it is actually a good time. It is. A bit too many
I'm
fetch
trying.
quests and whatnot, but the
I'm
actual
trying to think
combat's
of like
good.
games that are like cult classics that didn't sell really well, but still got sequels.
You
And
know,
I'm just not
Black North is not.
well versed enough because it just depends on what metric you're defining didn't sell well. Because obviously, like a game could sell half as much as a Call of Duty game, and that'd be considered selling well for them.
That's what I'm saying. The bad part is, I'm gonna look up the numbers right now, but I'm fairly sure Days Gone sold a lot. It's a first party Sony game. They always sell well, even the mediocre ones. You know what I'm saying? So, let's
Yeah,
see.
like Last of Us 2.
Fuck off. Numbers. Days Gone sales numbers.
I wanted to get that at some point.
The best thing I can find in the first 3 days after launch, it sold approximately 114,000 physical units in North America, but that doesn't mean shit because everyone's digital back then. So, but as of this is the big headline just on my Google, sorry, I don't want to blind you. So, officially, Days Gone has 5.5 million total players, and that was April 27, 2020, last year. And that's like a whole bunch. So, I mean, yeah, it didn't sell as well as God of War, but God of War didn't sell like nowhere close to like fucking Call of Duty, like over its lifetime, obviously. Like that first month or two, those games come out, they sell like hotcakes, and then Call of Duty drops, and it just sells all year until the next Call of Duty, you know. So I don't know how Sony measures success for sequels, you know. Like it's hard to say. I'm
Also, there's the
pretty
question there:
sure.
do certain games even need sequels?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I was gonna say like it isn't the best Infamous in the series, but Second Son I know for a fact sold really well because there was nothing else to play in your PS4 when that game dropped. There hasn't been another Infamous since.
Well, there was the DLC thing after that where you play as a one girl.
Yeah, there's DLC for it, but there's no
But
plans
that was
for it.
like that wasn't really. You can play that thing by itself, so it wasn't. It was like a mini game and not like.
Sure, but I would still throw that in the same concept as the Vampire DLC they did for Infamous 2. You can go play that without owning Infamous 2. but it's not really, it's not Infamous 3, whereas in Second Son it's technically 3, and I wouldn't count Lost Light, or, Living, whatever Light, as Infamous 5 or 4, for that matter. So, I don't know how Sony wants to do it. As I said, maybe with enough fanfare, we can get it going, but from the sounds of it, it already sounds like Sony has been working on something else.
It'd be funny. I want them to fucking greenlight it now that he's fucking gone, and I want them to not allow him back on the fucking project. And then I want it to sell more than God of War. I want it to be the reason he's not fucking there that it succeeds.
That's terrible. That's just mean-spirited to say.
Well, like his article's mean-spirited, so
It is. It is. I can feel that. My thing is, I can't really think of something. The cult classics don't get sequels. Games that are past their time, that people still love today, aren't getting sequels.
You're getting another Shin Megami Tensei.
See, but they're not past their prime. 4 sold extremely well on the 3DS. It's one of the best-selling 3DS
but
games.
It's still like old. Like Persona 4 Golden was 2012.
That's just because Atlas takes
5 was
forever.
like 2017.
Yeah. I get that, but that's not like cult classics. Oh my god, are we going to get a sequel? That's just Atlas taking their sweet ass time. That's just what they do with their sequels. As you just said, Persona 4 Golden was what? 2012. We just got the final version of fucking Persona 5, at least in the States, last year in 2020. That's what, 2 years after the actual version of the first version of the game came out. Like, Atlas just takes their sweet ass time with that. So,
I don't know. A lot of the games I play now are like roguelikes, and like there doesn't need to be a Dead Cells 2 because Dead Cells is still just good.
yeah.
Like there doesn't need to be a Binding of Isaac 2 because like they add Repentance and that stuff's still really good.
Yeah.
I'd still argue there didn't need to be a Spelunky 2, but Spelunky 2 is great, so who knows.
But like when you really go for cult classics, like people loved the original Punisher and have been clamoring for a new one. No one's seen or heard anything about that. One of your favorite game of all time is a giant cult classic. The entire series is. People love Onimusha. I've been begging for Onimusha for years. Nothing. I'm luckily on the other side.
Remaster awards.
And you know what? That sold like shit, didn't it?
It sold like well. It sold well for fucking Warlords.
Fair enough, but you never know. Maybe
But like it probably didn't sell like what they wanted because like the problem with like a nostalgia series, like the reason I think like problem with nostalgia series, you're really banking on old people getting into it. Like you're Destroy All Humans, like that's probably gonna sell more because that was more accessible than Onimusha.
Yeah.
Because I think Destroy All Humans was on like everything, and Onimusha's only been like PlayStation.
Yeah, for sure. But you never.
And while I think Warlords was on every console,
wasn't good. Not really.
They should have remastered like fucking. They should. I think the problem was they remastered Warlords, and they should have remastered what people say is the best Onimusha, and that probably would have sold really well, and then they could have done like the other ones.
I'm surprised they just didn't do it as a bundle.
Warlords. They should have done like 3 or something.
They should have did 3 Dawn of Dreams, or just honestly just re-release them as a collection like they did for. Like, that's what boggles my mind. Like, where's the money in that? That's how you test the water. One, people are clamoring to be able to play them anyway, but you can buy all 4 Devil May Cries on PS3, PS4, PS5, on all Xboxes.
Yeah, you can buy 1, 3, the fucking Ninja Theory, and then 4. And then you just forget 2 exists.
2 isn't... It's the worst the series still isn't bad, but my whole point is, like, even if you don't count the remake and 4, there's still just a Devil May Cry collection of 1, 2, and 3. It's like $20. Do that for Onimusha. Test your waters there. You don't even have to remaster them. You can. It would make people a lot more happy, but just
imagine a series. Imagine Devil May Cry living past 2, and then Days Gone can't get a second.
There you go. There's a perfect fucking comparison. It really is. Devil May Cry 1. Well, Devil May Cry 1, fantastic. 2, fucking terrible. Should we give them another chance? Bam, they do, and it's still the second best game in the entire series. That's crazy.
It's really hard to find a comparison because Days Gone is so recent. Like Bloodborne sold really well. Everyone wants another Bloodborne. But the problem is Bloodborne only came out in like 2015. There could still be a Bloodborne too
I
at some
think
point.
there could be,
It's
but
like
I don't think the director wants
the
to.
thing you'd have to like go you have to go back to fucking games from like the 1990s or something to be like,
Or
yeah,
early
is it really
2000s.
dead because it didn't sell well? Because it
Yeah.
really feels like, especially recently, like anything can get fucking remade or get a sequel.
I mean, look, Ratchet and Clank, the 2016, it sold relatively well, but I'm pretty sure Days Gone might have outsold that, but that's getting a sequel. You know, new Ratchet. A good comparison, I guess, is like people were clamoring for Sly, whatever they last let off, and then they gave them another one, and that sold like shit, so they're not making another one, and people are mad about that. I mean, there's plenty of things you can point to, but you never know. It's so hard because we're not a fly in the wall. We don't know why Sony said no for real.
What's gonna come out first? Half-Life 3 or Days Gone 2? Place your bets.
Days Gone 2. Days Gone 2 will get green light and made before we even see a logo for Half-Life 3. Because it's never coming out.
I will say,
Perfect.
I do wanna
Half-Life. How do we not talk about Half-Life? One of the best games, period, of all time, that everyone clamors for.
I didn't consider it because we got like Half-Life Alyx.
That shit don't count.
Though Half-Life Alyx sold really fucking well.
It did, but it ain't Half-Life 2 numbers. But that's only because they forced it onto
VR.
VR.
That's because it's a VR only.
Yeah. But still, it's still not 3. No,
which I can't play it on my VR headset.
Yeah, don't you have to have the Quest?
What's that?
No, don't you have to have
I have the Quest 2. I think I need the Rift for like Steam stuff.
Yeah, like
so I can play stuff on like the Oculus store, but like if I need like the Rift if I'm gonna do like Steam stuff, which is fine because I don't need that much. What's that?
Isn't that thing like wasn't the whole thing? It's like $1,000 to get that.
A Rift.
Yeah, like and the whole thing is no one gets to. It's a great game to. Yeah, that was the big article. Fantastic VR game. Too bad it's stuck behind $1,000 paywall. Imagine having to build a PC. We're talking probably like a $2,000 PC.
Yeah, you can get like other VR headsets. I just wanted the Quest 2 to do VR stuff not break my fucking wallet.
Oh yeah, that's my whole point. Is like that's so fucking terrible that you have to build at least a $2,000 PC to be able to run that fucking thing, and then have to go spend another $1,000 on equipment to play that one specific game, because I don't think they have anything else that you can't play. Like you can go get Beat Saber and this, that, and the third, but I mean, Half-Life Alyx looks interesting, but there's no fucking way on earth that I'm going to upgrade my PC and then go spend $1,000 on another thing to play one game. Fuck that. I'll wait for them to port that shit to PlayStation headset and or a Quest, because excuse me, that does look interesting. But yeah, I'm on the same tip as you. As it's weird. His article, the straight up whole point of this article is he sounds like a bitter asshole. Honestly,
it is really fair. It has a point, though. Like,
but he has a point.
Because like if like it's really nice to like get a $60 game for like $5. It feels fucking great.
Mm-hmm.
But
it does.
Like, of course, like you can just get God of War for like $20 like flat now. They don't fucking care anymore. They want you to play it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that shit's like on sale constantly too.
Yeah. You can easily find that game for under $20 most of the time. Like it's $20 just straight up to buy it right now. And then if it catches on sale, obviously you can get it for cheaper than that. And that's if you want to buy it. Like if you somehow haven't played it yet and plan on getting a PS5 whenever they become available or whatever, yada, 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 I wouldn't even say buy it right now, because as soon as you get a PS5, guess what? You get Days Gone, God of War. You get there's like 20 games they give you free, one of which is Days Gone and God of War. You don't even have to buy it. Excuse Excuse me. So, I mean, I get his point, but at the same time, it's hard to argue with, and as I said in the beginning, it's hard because you're on both sides. Yeah, you want a new sequel, you should have supported it better. Like, as consumers, we should have bought it and be rampant. Like, they're rampant now, but you know, put your money where your mouth is
You
for
know,
a company.
because like, you know, here's a good example. Shadow of the Colossus was a huge cult classic game. It wasn't like, you know, it didn't. It sold, you know, sold pretty well. It was big. People loved it. But like then later, you got The Last Guardian. Like you can, Moogle loved The Last Guardian, but you can still get stuff. Like it can still happen.
Yeah,
Like
that's
if
another
you
big
give,
thing.
like, sure they didn't get Days Gone 2 right away, but that doesn't mean it's never gonna happen. And I think
Exactly.
that's the biggest problem. He wanted it right now,
And had no
but
patience.
yeah.
I see. But as a creative person, like I assume he is, obviously he's a game developer, game director, game writer. He wanted to do that right now, and if they're not going to let him, well, then he's fine. He's going to go work on a project he does, because, as I said, the rumor was Sony was putting them to help Naughty Dog redo Uncharted or make a new Uncharted or whatever, doing something that he didn't want to do, but then Ben's like, no, we don't want to do this. We would like to make our own thing. So then Sony's like, okay, well, what else do you have besides Days Gone? That's where it ended. That's where it ended at. They're working on something. They were being shipped around to help other studios finish up and do certain things. And then they're like, hey, we don't fucking want to do this. We want to make our own thing. But Sony's like, well, it's not going to be Days Gone 2, so pitch us something else. So whatever they pitch, Sony's like, okay, go ahead and make it. Because whoever was left behind at Bend and Sony have both said it's not Days Gone right now. You're not getting Days Gone. They're working on something else. But with all the fanfare and yelling and yada yada, pitchforks, maybe that clicked something in Sony's head. Like, all right, finish what you're doing now, and then you guys can rework whatever you were trying to do with Days Gone 2. Because obviously, Sony's not dumb. Okay, they have two of the best written franchises.
I mean, they're a little dumb.
They're a little
Just think
dumb.
about how much money they could make if they actually did backwards compatibility.
But they do have backward. You mean with PS3 discs?
PS2 games, like in PS1 games. Imagine if they actually did like more of those.
Yeah, they just don't want to spend that kind of money because, I mean,
they'd make it all back.
No, they wouldn't.
Like,
well, let me rephrase. If look how much money they're losing by not putting those games digitally, sure. But making the system itself backwards compatible for all the games that are sitting on my shelf literally makes them no money. And most of the cult classics and big games that you'd want to play, you can get and or have already been remastered. So we're gonna say I think that might be a time for someone, because I hard disagree with you, because a giant reason I don't get an Xbox.
I did have like back to like the article. I did have like another side of the coin. Look at what happens to certain franchises that they let keep making other copies. Look what happened to Mass Effect. It kept selling well, and then you got fucking Andromeda.
Big facts.
Like Days Gone can sell really well, but like, did it? There's like always a risk factor now if you keep pushing stuff out without enough time.
That's where I was getting. That's what I was getting into. Sony is dumb, yada yada yada. But at the same time, they know what a good story is. Like, Last of Us, whatever you can boggle. Last of Us 1's great. God of War is good. Like, they put out consistently fantastic to decent stories. Whatever they were pitching to the higher ups must not have been clicking. Like, you can't just also say that Sony just wants money, money, money. They went and pitched them an idea, and they're like, no, we're not going to let you do this. It can't all just be because your first game didn't sell well, because it honestly did. And it got well supported, and there's a lot of fanfare for it now, so that can't all just be it. There has to be a weak link in their story, gameplay, the game development. A big reason why Sony said they didn't want to let them do it is because Days Gone 1 took too damn long. And maybe Ben said they need the same amount of time or more time to make a sequel better. And Sony's like, no, make something smaller. We need We need you to push something out, you know. So there's a lot more than just corporate Sony being bad and Mr. Game Director being mad so he left. Like it's a whole ball of wax that it's crazy. It's craziness right now. You know, game development is hard, especially with COVID being a thing. Like, look how many games got delayed or getting delayed, and hell, you can't even get a damn console outside of sitting at your computer every single day and refreshing Best Buy and Walmart and yada 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 yada. They're still damn near impossible to get without spending over sticker and fucking like I was literally just on StockX because I was looking to see. So I was looking up stick drift problems, and one of the articles popped up said, "Hey, if you want a PS5, here it is on StockX, and the minimum one on StockX is still $1,050." Whereas in like 2 months, you know, when it first dropped, it was like 1,300. It dropped a little bit, but that's still fucking what, $450 over a disc and $550 over a discless. Like that's crazy. So yeah, that's it. I don't really have much else to say about this guy. I mean, I agree with him, and at the same time, I don't. So take it with a grain of salt.
Like, it always sucks when you can't, when you're not allowed to do your own creative, like, vision, like, but you can't always have everything you want when you're like not doing like independent things. Like, it's just called being an adult.
Yeah. Yeah, well, luckily he's big enough, I
Like,
guess, to
he
be able to
wanted his
leave.
cake and he wanted to eat it too.
Yeah.
And then Sony just blew out the candles and pushed his face in the cake.
Well, good luck to him and wherever he moves off to. I think if I remember correctly, he's starting his own game studio.
I was kind of mean, but yeah, it does suck, and I do hope wherever he ends up, he does get to make what, you know, he does get to throw his creative vision out there.
Yeah.
Because like, if you do really, even if your game is bad, even if a game's bad, you can always tell if the developers loved what they're doing.
Yep.
And it's always nice to see. I'll take a mediocre game that the devs loved working on over like some AAA game that people had to fucking crunch to get out any day.
Yeah. Perfect. Another example of mediocrity, or well below mediocrity, to turn around. Both have come up before, but Final Fantasy and No Man's Sky. Yes, I know you think No Man's Sky still sucks, but you can always turn it around, you know. And if you believe
Like,
the
the
articles,
story No Man's Sky is really inspirational,
yes,
but like, I find it extremely bland.
yes, so do I. Well, I did. I know they added a lot, but I never went back into it. I had a physical copy, sold it to get something else because, you know, selling to get games. Lots of kids don't have yada yada yada. You know, sad story, dad story, right? But yeah. If you believe the articles and whatnot, they turn it around too. So keep your heads up, guys. Do what you need to do to get yourselves kicking and get Sony happy, and give us Days Gone 2 here in 3-4 years, 5 years, whatever. You know, I'm waiting, and I can't blame either party. Sony didn't give you what you want, so you left. People who stayed get to work on. You'd have to assume that if it was something that no one, like most of the team at the studio, didn't want to do, they'd all just leave, and Sony would have to repopulate. But obviously, enough people stayed and are liking what they're working on. That gives me hope of, you know, whatever they're going to put out is going to be cool. So, good luck to Bend. Good luck to Sony's weird ass, and good luck to Mr. Was it David? I don't remember his name. Oh, hold on 1 second. I don't want to be an asshole. I'd feel bad. I keep saying Mr. Game Developer guy.
Mr. Salty Bitch.
That's terrible. Well, since my phone's being an asshole, I will just keep calling him Mr. Game Development, and I highly doubt he'd even hear this, but if he does, good luck to you, sir,
I'm
in
sorry,
your next
I've
endeavors.
been unfairly rude, and I do hope you are the best in
He's
your
always
future.
an asshole, but we always are. We're here to have fun. If you're actually listening to this, feel free to tweet at me, just like any of you can, because now we're going into the spiel of the end times. You can reach me at Dad of War. That's with a 0, in everything I'm about to say. It's Dad of War. You want to head me on PSN, play some Outriders, some Smite? You don't have to have, be on PlayStation, play Smite. But either way, it's Dad of War with a 0 and an asterisk. You can find me on Facebook. I have a Dad of War page. Patreon's getting set up now. If you're watching here live, thank you for chilling with me on twitch.tv/Dad of War. Okay, cool. You can find us on YouTube to watch the podcast later on at YouTube/Dad of War, and or type in War Table Podcast, where I'm working on a name. Don't worry about it. Just look me up, Dad of War, on YouTube. It's the only videos I put up at the moment. Working on other stuff. We'll get to that another time. And you can also find us on every single podcast service minus Google Play, because I can't figure this shit out, but we're on iTunes, Spotify, fucking Anchor, and a few others that I don't even know, that Anchor just throws me on anyway. So you can find us, damn near anywhere on the internet that you can do things and speak on. YouTube, Twitch, podcast services, everything. Fucking Spotify is a damn near radio station, so there you go. That's what's next. We'll have to get on iHeart and get a Sirius XM going. I don't know how we'll do that, but
I heard go bankrupt or something.
No, they're huge still. Like, they're really big. The iHeartRadio Awards thing was just like a few weeks ago with all the major stars doing stuff. Pretty sure that's where Cardi B and what's-her-face scissored in a bed. Or was that the Grammys? That was the Grammys, never mind. But either way, Kawhi, where can they find you at?
I didn't know anything about awards. My mom was texting me about the country music awards, and I don't know who the fuck she's talking about, but I'm working on getting actually social media stuff. For me, I re-downloaded Instagram. I'll have that ready soon.
Okay.
I'm just still working on everything. I still need to get my TikTok set up. I just been lazy, so
Okay.
it's still always twitch.tv/KawaiBoyGirl, and I'll get other shit figured out shortly.
All right, well, that's our time here. I hope you all have a wonderful one, and hopefully we'll see you next week. Deuces.